Welcome to Locating Dissertations. Within this short video, we're going to show you how to locate dissertations, mostly in digital formats. A few things you should consider right up front. Students are not required to make their dissertations publicly available. What this means is that when a PhD or an MA candidate has produced their dissertation and thesis, they are not required to make that publicly available. They can choose to upload an abstract up to a database like a ProQuest, or they can choose to not make it be available at all. Um, it's totally and completely up to them. So as you're searching through some of the databases like ProQuest, you may find an abstract for something that is quite new, and it will be completely impossible for us to obtain it. Most dissertations after 2007 are published only in digital formats. Very few are in print. And this is true. The 2007 is kind of squidgy. It can go a little earlier, it can go a little later. It depends on when the institution decided to go digital. And in some cases, that was before 2007. In other cases, it kind of started around 2010-ish. So, but a good guide is to go by maybe 2007 to 2010. And for the most part, the titles within that date range and later will all be digitally born. There will be nothing in print. Those that are printed were more often than not added to a non-circulating collection because they're the one and only copy in the entire world. So libraries decided to put that into a more contained collection where those items couldn't be um, lost or missing. Here at NAU, we decided to put most of those dissertations in our special collections. And special collections is mainly non-circulating. We do not lend those to other institutions. We often do not even lend them to our own patrons. So in that case, you would need to come to the library, request the book at the special collections counter, and they can pull it out and let you look at it. And in some special circumstances, they may let you borrow it. International dissertations can be a challenge for us to get through interlibrary loan. Again, like all other printed materials, it's like often there's only one copy of it available worldwide. And sometimes when I look for some of these older or more international titles, sometimes I can find them at other institutions where they've purchased a copy and added it to their collection for whatever reason. But mostly they're like a one off. You'll get them from the institution that produced it, and that's it. For international libraries, they're very reluctant to send those titles overseas. So obtaining them can sometimes be a challenge. NAU dissertations. So when you go and you start out at the graduate studies page for dissertations, they do give you a link to be able to upload your own dissertation to ProQuest. And we have, NAU has purchased that database. We have that available for you through our database lists. So if you go to Klein Library and you click on all databases and then go to the letter D, you will find two different instances of ProQuest dissertations and theses. One of them will take you to the entire search string to search the entire database. And then there's another instance that will allow you to just search for NAU only dissertations. And keep in mind that, you may find an abstract for one of the NAUs that does not have full text. And just that might be one of those ones that the student decided that they did not want that to be publicly available. So even though there's an abstract in ProQuest, it still might be impossible for us to obtain a copy of that. So where do you start? Where do you start looking for dissertations? And the best place to start is to start with this LibGuide. Um, Finding dissertations. And you can find it by clicking on this link, or you can find it by going to the NAU Klein Library website and clicking on research guides and how to, and then scroll down the list until you find finding or locating dissertations. Another way you can locate this is that there is a search box on the Klein Library page, and just search for find dissertations, and this page should come up. And this is what it looks like, at least the top half of it. Within this guide, you will find on this first page, if you scroll down, you'll find the link to ProQuest. You'll also find a link to the graduate studies page that talks about how to produce dissertations and all of the dates and times that things are due. And if you keep scrolling further, you'll find a list of open access databases. Now, these are mostly repositories. Many of them are not completely, totally um, about dissertations. They may have many other things besides dissertations within them, but they do contain some, and it's often kind of a nice start to look and see what's available in some of these open access sources. The ones that aren't truly just dissertations will include some um, articles or sometimes books or books chapters that are completely and totally freely available to the public. Um, when you are scrolling down, there are a few of these repositories that are kind of good for you to keep an eye out for, or maybe even search first. The EBSCO database that's on there is a free one. EBSCO, if you have been searching through the library, you have found many EBSCO databases. We buy many EBSCO ebooks and journals. They're a very large company that provides access to a wide variety of materials. But they have chosen to make their database of dissertations completely free, and there are thousands of them in there. So that's another really good alternative to searching through ProQuest. You'll find some other ones there too. At the bottom of the page, you will find a really nice selection of uh, institutional repositories. So U of A, ASU, and a smattering of other ones, including um, some states have decided to have a repository for their entire state. So the California public school system has one repository for all the dissertations for the entire state. So you can get stuff from Cal State, you can get stuff from, University of California. You can get them from everywhere in California or in one database. Ohio Link is also listed in that, and they do the same thing. All public institutions within Ohio have one stop shop for all the dissertations that are available. But this just gives you a smattering of the few really nice. Some of them are really robust sites for their digital repositories for their university, which include dissertations. So it's worth, while you're searching through all of this, to keep in mind. I just keep on saying it. Most institutions of a decent size have their own digital repository, and many dissertations will be found there. So let's keep going. In ProQuest, if you log in and you click on the button, you'll get to a page that looks kind of like this. This is the advanced search option where you can search for a variety of different things. Um, but what I'm wanting to point out to you is that you can always limit your search to only full text materials. Now, if you do a search without that box done, and you come up with thousands under the topic that you chose, that's a great way to instantly refine your search. Just click on full text and it should reduce the number by a few. So I did a simple search just for Flagstaff, Arizona, and I got 175 results. And I did not limit it by full text options. You can see directly below the 175, there's a box there for full text. And there are a bunch of other options below that too. If you think 175 is too much, you can always use some of these options to reduce the numbers. Now, to look at some of the options from that search, you'll see this top one. It's one of Northern Arizona universities, and it's from 2021. So it's brand new. Yay. And you'll see below that there is the link for it to be full text and download the PDF immediately. So always pay attention to the school name and the year. Then you can go over to this right-hand side and you can see the first one's full text, the second one's just a citation, the third one's full text. So you can always, if you want to be a quickie and see which ones are full text or not, you can always look here on the right-hand side. So for the second one, it's from Columbia University, and it's a super old one. It's from 1962. Now, I don't know if 1962 would be relevant for whatever it is someone's looking for, but it's highly unlikely that a 1962 dissertation is going to be digitized unless it came from U of A and they digitized everything. But Columbia may have. I don't know. I've never even searched for Columbia's repository, but they may. So in this case, I would probably order it through interlibrary loan if you're desperate to get it immediately, because interlibrary loan for dissertations could take a week or two for us to get the physical copy. But if you want it immediately, you could do a Google search for Columbia University Digital Repository or Columbia University Digital Dissertations and see if they have a database, and then just cut and paste this title into their search box and see if it comes up. And if it doesn't come up, then absolutely order it through a library loan. This bottom one is an Arizona State University one, and it's from 2011. And as you can see below, it is completely freely available through ProQuest. So that's a quick, easy download. Now, there are two types of full text within ProQuest. And as you are considering uploading your own dissertations in full text to ProQuest, it may give you the option of whether or not you want it to be open access. And as someone who's a strong supporter of open access, I encourage you to make that plunge. You'll see that the ones that are open access have kind of a orange icon. It usually looks like an unlocked padlock. And here's the difference between these two. If you choose the one that just says full text, that is full text within ProQuest's database. However, you must have a subscription to ProQuest to access it. And ProQuest doesn't give out any of their subscriptions to the general public. They only give them to large institutions who are like us or ASU or Colorado State, any of those larger institutions will probably have access to this database, but the general public will not. If you choose to make your item open access, it means it's freely available everywhere. It does not matter if a person has an account or has access to ProQuest, it still is freely available to anyone, which is really kind of lovely. It means no one's making money off of your works. So consider that when you are deciding to upload your item to ProQuest. So you found what you like, you clicked on the title, you wanted to see what the abstract looked like, and this is what the top half of that abstract looks like. Um, it gives you a bit more information about uh, all sorts of stuff in here. You'll see this one where it says the place of publication, it says Ann Arbor. Um, that to me, before I even look at the date, I know that means that this is one of the dissertations that was before ProQuest bought UMI, because UMI was located in Ann Arbor. And so this is probably one that was digitized from the large stash of collections they had. But really, it's a Columbia University. Look up there at the top. Columbia University, 1961. So this is like a pretty old one. I mean, I've seen ones that are older than this, but that's pretty old. So in this instance, like we talked about in the previous one, I would probably just straight up request this through interlibrary loan if that's what you're wanting, because there's a very high probability it won't be available digitally. On to the next one. This one's from University of Arizona, and it's from 1987. Now, 1987 is before the date of 2007, which I gave you as kind of that sweet spot of when things start being digital. This is quite a bit before that. So, logically, it probably isn't digital. However, U of A has digitized all their dissertations from 1895 to present. And I think this is still an ongoing exercise, but they have digitized like 30,000 of their previous dissertations, which is quite impressive. So I know for a fact that if this is not freely available on ProQuest, that you go back to the LibGuide, go to the bottom of the first page, and the link that I provided right here on this is there for you to click on, and it'll take you straight to U of A's site. And if you cannot find this topic or this title on their in their database, then I would go ahead and order it through interlibrary loan, and we can try to get a print copy. But of what I understood from somebody down there, that as they have been digitizing them, they have been removing the print copy. So unless that print copy had a tremendous number of circulations where it was asked for, they probably have gotten rid of the print copy. So it may just be digitally born and that's it. But we can always try. So here's one of ours. This is that one that I was talking about previously. That was from 2021. And it's ours, and it's already been uploaded. So this is what it looks like when you go into ProQuest and it suddenly gives you the option for a free PDF. And this is freely available. You can just click it and download it, and you got it. There is no possibility for this one to be available in print. If it's available on ProQuest, 98% of the time, we will probably not have a physical copy. So get it while it's hot on the website. So as you're searching throughout the ProQuest database, Be sure to have a pen, a piece of paper handy because sometimes searching, like it's the same thing with all other databases. Many databases have their own controlled vocabulary. And what that means is basically what they've done is they've created specific terminology to use to describe things. Very similar to how a library uses, well, most libraries use the Library of Congress system, which has a classification system at the very top of the tree, and then underneath that larger classification, there are subject headings, and those subjects refine that classification, and there might be many of them. And then within those subjects, there are other sub subjects that go along with that. And ProQuest has created a more simplistic version of that, but it's a controlled vocabulary. It's not something that the author can decide this is what my dissertation's about. It's controlled by ProQuest. So when you upload your dissertation, it may give you the option to add some keywords. So the keywords that are listed within the abstract are often provided by the author. The subjects sometimes are also provided by the author. However, it probably is giving you some options that's in their terminology. So you'll find ones and it might have radial buttons with lots of different things, and you can check off all the different areas um, where your dissertation falls under. And then the classification code is created by ProQuest. So once it's uploaded to ProQuest, they have the subjects that you suggested, they have the identifier or keywords that you suggest. They are then going to take that, and before it's uploaded into their system, they're going to assign it the number classification. So if you are searching and you're finding there's like one or two dissertations that seem really great with you, they seem like they're right on point with what you want to say, but you really can't find any more in your original search. Write on a piece of paper, write two columns, write one column being subject, the other column being classification, and start writing some of these subjects and classifications on your piece of paper that are relevant to your search. When you do a keyword search in ProQuest, like many other databases, when they do that keyword search, they're looking at the words within the title. They may look at the words within the abstract, but that's it. So if you choose school counselor, it's looking for those exact words within what's in the abstract and the title. So if the title doesn't say school counselor, then it may not actually pull up the right thing of what you want. But if you use the classification terms and use the subject headings, you will be able to refine your search and get a better result. You'll be able to find the types of materials that are within the um, terminology that this databases use. And it might be completely different than what you came up with as a keyword. So keep a log of the different ones that seem to work. Then go back to an advanced search. Try plugging in all of those different terms, and you may need to use them in um, different order or combinations until you find the ones that you really like. And then and then again, once you find those ones that you like, go back and do what we did with the last few. Look at the university, look at the age. You can qualify it by full text only. Um, think about looking in a repository at those institutions. If they're a large institution, especially if they're a large public one or a large private one, they probably have a digital repository. And If you can spend that little bit of effort to try to find those repositories, you'll get your item immediately. You won't have to wait. You won't have to wait 2 weeks for us in interlibrary loan to try to obtain it. And isn't that the goal? Isn't that the goal, to be able to get what you want as quickly as you want so that you can start doing your work? So, to kind of wrap this whole thing up, um, as you're going through the process, as you're going through the dissertation lib guide, or you're going through ProQuest or whatever database you're looking at, use the Finding Dissertations lib guide. Pay attention to the university where it's published. Note the year that it was published. Use the full text little box. If it has a box in it, you're allowed to check it, check it. And then you'll get all the ones that are instantaneously available. Um, if they're not instantaneously available on ProQuest and they are within that year range we were talking about, try doing a Google search for the repository for that institution. And when in doubt and you're now frustrated and you can't find what you want, then place an interlibrary loan request, and Klein Library will try to obtain that copy for you. And when in doubt and you still need some help and you're really struggling, contact me. I'm happy to help you out in any way. Just give me an email or come by the library and ask at the front desk for Elizabeth, and I am happy to come out and give you some help. So thanks so much for listening, and good luck on your dissertation, and I hope it turns out fabulous.